Hello and welcome to Katrina's Creations. Today is day 17 of Vlogmas. So let's get started. I am going to be doing a tutorial for, where did I put it? Oh, here we go. For the honeycomb stitch. So here it is. It is Tunisian crochet. So there you can see it. So stay tuned after I open up the fiber for today and the yarn for today to see the tutorial for Tunisian crochet. So let's get started first with the fiber of the day. Here is the lighthouse. And we have, oh, these are pretty. They're like a fuchsia. I'm going to open them up because the one is a solid and the other has some other color blended into it. So let me pull these out so you can really see them. I'm having an awful time getting the Ziploc bag to open. All of my fingernails have snapped off with the weather getting dry and cold. So I don't have any fingernails to pop open the little thingies anymore. So here we go. This is like a fuchsia. And then this one is like a purple and fuchsia together. Is that cool? Look how neat they look together. Yeah, so how cool. So I like those. And now let's look at our yarn for the day. I'm back to a small mini skein, I can feel it. Here it is. So there you go, really pretty purples and teals, some of my favorite colors to put together. So, and I think, I had said these are 5 gram, I'm thinking that they are maybe, they look like a 5 gram when you compare them to the larger one that I got earlier, because this is a 20 gram. I would say that's a 5 gram. It's just a guess, and when I compare it to some of the other ones that I've gotten, like the ones from Hedgehog Fiber, those are also saying they're 20 grams, but they're smaller than that 20 gram. I'm not sure. I don't get it. I have to take my scale out, I guess, measure these, you know, to see what they really are. But anyway, that is the color for today. This is a tutorial for the honeycomb stitch with Tunisian crochet. Now I am going to be, for display purposes so you can see what I'm doing, I am actually using a 7mm hook. This is what a Tunisian crochet hook looks like. There are other versions of this where it's the same length as a regular crochet hook, but at the end where the crochet hook end would be, it has a cord that's attached with like a bead at the end, similar to circular knitting needles with the cord attached. So, but this is the type that I have, and I am using Knit Picks Brava yarn in the super bulky, I think it's bulky, maybe it's just bulky. So you want to, whatever yarn you're using, you want to use a appropriate size hook for what you'll be doing. So I am going to begin by chaining. I'm keeping this relatively small since it is just a sample. Let me move the camera down a little bit. All right, so I am going to chain 12 here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now this particular stitch is composed of 4 rows. This is not considered one of the beginning rows because your very first row with Tunisian crochet is actually a foundation row. And so what you're going to do, you're going to load these stitches onto your hook, because unlike regular crochet where you crochet across and turn your work and then go back, Tunisian crochet is just done on the front. You never turn your work. So the first row is always a foundation stitch, and so we have the 1 loop coming from this stitch. You're going to go in to the next stitch, pull your yarn through and add it to it, go into the next, pull it through, oops, I caught a little extra there, pull it through, and you're going to go all the way across until you have 12 loops, or however many you are going across, to make sure you have all of those stitches loaded onto the hook itself. Okay, you want to count your stitches. So there's 3, 6, 9, 12. If you're doing more, you just want to make sure that you do have the correct number on there. So now we are ready to take these stitches back off of the hook. So you begin by yarning over, and you're going to pull it through the first loop. And then you're going to, from then on, yarn over and pull through 2 the rest of the way across. So there's 2, and here is 2, we've now gone all the way back across. So this is our foundation stitch here. So it was pulling up all the loops across and then taking them back off. We now, this is the only time you're going to do these 2 rows as part of the foundation. So we're now going to get into the stitch itself. So you're going to chain 1 because that's going to take you up to the next row here. So that would be for this stitch here. Your next stitch, you're going to do what's called a purl stitch. Just like the purl stitch in knitting, the yarn moves in front of the hook, and then you insert it through the front post here. You can see it's running across the front of the stitch. You're going to grab it with a yarn over and pull it through. So that is a purl stitch. The next one you will do what's called a knit stitch, which is your basic stitch where you're going to keep the yarn in the back here. I'm going to grab it with a yarn over, pull it up. Your next one will be the purl, so you're going to move your yarn forward, go through that front post, yarn over, pull it through. The next one will be the knit where it's in the back. The next will be the front, so you're alternating front and back all the way across. I'm going to do that last stitch here, yarn over, pull it through. So now you want to count to make sure you have all of your stitches on there again, and I do. So we're going to take these stitches off the same as we did the first time, so you're going to yarn over, pull through one, yarn over, and pull through two at a time all the way across. Alright, that is the completion of the first 2 rows of the honeycomb stitch. So now we're going to chain 1. That gives us our yarn up to the next group. Now if you look closely with the row that we did before, you can see this little bump in the front of this stitch. Here it's not there. Here's that little bump again. These little bumps are what gives it the name the purl stitch, because it looks like a little pearl or a little bump. So you can see it's every other one. We're going to do the opposite stitch in the next row. So you can see this one has a little purl bump. So this time we are not going to do a purl stitch in it. We are going to go through that front through the front post, but the yarn is in the back. And we're just going to pull it up onto the hook. And here you can see this one did not have a purl, so it's going to have one this time. So the yarn goes in front of the hook, through the front post, yarn over, and pull it through. This one has the little bump, so it's going to go in the back. You're going to be alternating once again, but it'll be the opposite of what you did in the row before. And you're going to go all the way across. And we go through that last stitch here. And again, we are going to take the stitches off the same way as we have in the past. So pull through one, and then pull through two the rest of the way across. So now let's look at what we have. This is the beginning of the honeycomb stitch, and you can see it's forming these little, look like honeycombs. So it is a 4-row repeat, so we have just completed, this is the 4th row. You're going to go back to the next row. Is going to be just like what we did with our row 1, not the foundation row, but this last row. So again, you're going to chain 1. And if you remember our first row, we started with that purl stitch here, and then the row next we did a back stitch. So this one we're going to do the purl this time. So the yarn is going to go in the front, there we go. I grabbed a few extra strands there, and then the next one there you can see that purl, so it goes in the back, and you're going to alternate all the way across as we have in the past. Again, make sure you count your stitches, and we're going to take it off the same way we have. So it's 1, and then we go through 2 loops all the rest of the way across. So this is a repeat of row 1 and 2 that we have just, well, almost completed. So we've now done row 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and now we've repeated row 1 and 2 again. So now we will do row 3 and 4. Do your chain up. That chain up counts as this first stitch. You can look at this and see there's that little purl bump. So we know that we are going to do a knit this time. So we'll be putting the yarn in the back. And then we go to the front, and you're going to alternate all the way across, the opposite of what you did in the row before. So that completes row 3, and then row 4 will again be taking the stitches off. So go through 1, and then go through 2 all the way across. And there you go. We've repeated the honeycomb stitch twice, and you can see how it is called a honeycomb stitch. You can see the little honeycomb shapes in here. It's a very easy stitch to do, but I think it looks really pretty. So I hope you have found this helpful. If you have, please give me a thumbs up in the video. Make sure you come back tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 18. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.